I've only watched Annie at Lewis and Clark do it when I was at Old James, and she showed me. I got worried that I would forget, and I was like, "Oh no!" And I guess I didn't go through the entire process, but I know that's what she did. Yeah, and then she went back in and she changed them all. I guess in my head, I was more like wondering, when and if I'd forget. But I've only watched it happen, so that's all I can contribute.
Yeah, and I think one of the suggestions was, I think Annie told me she does it right before Christmas break, then right at the end of the school year. And you could always run a inventory report that shows all books currently in the new location.
Oh, okay.
And then go back that way so you don't remember and have to forget or remember them.
Okay. So
but what you need a schedule somewhere along the lines that remembers, and she does hers right before Christmas break, then right at the end of the year.
Right, your orders.
So that would help me, going through to know it's a new book too, and then even if it's a 2017 or whatever it is, it's a note to us then. So where should we be in PLC? That's what I'm hoping for Kim, and I know the first few weeks are going to be set out. We'll be getting into that really soon here. Came up, I was looking at book orders, and who was it? Somebody pointed up their Mac box last week, right? And so they got their order in. And if you're going through there, we do our upload to Follett, and Mackin does the same service. And I emailed Brandon Newfer. He says, no biggie. Just let us know that you want to upload it to 2 vendors, or in the case of high school, maybe Ingram that does middle school, high school stuff. And we're going to try to get those uploaded. So I'm going to see what it works. But technology said, do it if we want to. So if you're using Mackin, it might show up on the list then that you already own a book. Question about Battle of the Books, I guess that's more middle school, what they're asking for on. And it kind of goes into, selection. Because if you're going in and you're selecting books and having it out there, they're, I think, getting a little gun shy, about a challenge. And I had a conversation earlier, going on too about, if classroom libraries and stuff. And I'm not going to walk into classroom libraries and police them. But if you're asked your opinion, I would always probably refer back to, like the reviews. So if all of a sudden you get somebody that wants these things and it says high school only, I would highly discourage that teacher. It's not for us to police them, but if they're asking our advice, it is something that we need to be very aware of going forward, going in. So that sounds like background noise there. So preferred names and workflows. If you look at when you go into a student setting, I don't know if anybody's ever experimented with this in the past. I never really paid attention to it, but you could do a preferred name. So my little Giorgio that never goes by Giorgio's name, but goes by his other nickname instead. You can actually have a second data line. The question is, does it erase when we do a patron upload? So I don't know. Has anybody here ever experimented with that setting before and done the nickname? Kaylee, does it erase when we do the patron upload?
Well, what do you mean erase?
Like if you go into the user settings or the user modify user,
right?
And there's a little checkbox in there that says use the nickname.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never checked that box for anybody.
Me neither. But then when I put in the nickname, when I'm like looking up a kid, it comes up either way with their real name or their nickname. But I've never checked any boxes.
Okay, because I think if you check the box, then that's good to know that information stays. But if you check the box, the name that appears when you scan the barcode was the name that will appear then on the screen instead of the nickname.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never checked a box, but I put the nicknames in all the time.
Thank you. That's good to know.
So it comes up either way.
Yeah, I've never played with the nickname part of it. And then, but yeah, I think there's a check box there that will make the one that pops up on the screen the nickname then, which leads to another one then that came up this week. I was asked about like middle school. And I don't know if anybody else has experimented with this, but you know how we have our Alt ID? Apparently, when you click on that icon in the corner there that says, check out to next user, if you put the Alt ID in there, under most cases we've discovered, the name appears. So I've had an elementary colleague, one of our colleagues here has asked about can they use the tin keypad if they have a tin keypad, like they're doing it in middle school. And going in, it's not going to break the system, if you have your system going down there and doing it and for what it is, because you're not messing with the original username. Is that clear as mud right there, or kind of something?
Did you want me to?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll just elaborate. So, okay. So kind of here's the deal. When I was at Will James, and the kids were always like typing in their student ID numbers when they would check out, and obviously that's just how they did it, and it was pretty slick. So I just got a number keypad, and I thought, well, maybe I'll try this with my 5th graders and the 4th graders since they know their numbers, and I'll see if this saves a little time. And so I was experimenting with students, and I was just noticing that when they would type in their student ID number, it wasn't always like pulling up, but if I searched for them under the patron, that was the number. And so, but there was like no rhyme or reason. Some kids, it would work if I typed in their student ID number, and others it wouldn't. And at Will, I don't think I ever had a student, last year, that the number didn't work. So that's what's weird. I didn't know if it was something because they're tagged into elementary, if it's blocking something. I don't know. It's kind of a mystery. It's not a huge big deal, but it was more something I kind of wanted. Anybody might know why, but I don't know. Courtney, you have a comment?
Well, that's how I've been doing it with my 5th grade, is they just type in their alt ID, and they have to do it without the 3 numbers that they use the Chromebook. And I think it is because that could be their previous ID. When they're loaded into the system, they're loaded with their alt ID, because 9 times out of 10 it does work.
Okay, yeah, and I've noticed it's been pretty.
I don't change their item, like their patron ID.
Right, no, I don't either. No, I didn't change any of that, but.
Yeah, so if they just type in their number without zeros.
Right, we did do that, and I didn't have them do the zeros, but it still wouldn't work consistently with kids. I'd find it would work with some, but not all. So it was just weird, and I couldn't find the why.
Yeah, I think unless you change their patron barcode number to their alt ID, it won't work.
Okay, maybe. Okay, all right, maybe that I can look into that. Okay. Anyway, it was just a small thing, but I just thought I'd see what you guys had to say about it. But all right, Courtney, I'll look at that.
Okay. And last couple social emotional learning books for Project Aware. I'm not on mine. I don't know who added that. If it's going through, I know our counselors have a lot of books that have access to that stuff too. And I've been asked, my kindergarten 1st grade want books on sharing, and fairness and everything else like that too. Just going out. I know I've searched your libraries before too to borrow books and stuff. And then middle school talking about when is what they have going on. So if you have anything else, I guess I'm meeting tomorrow at 3:45. So, kind of throw it out at us here. Okay.
If anybody needs any SEL book ideas, I'm sure some of us have pretty extensive lists, but I have a pretty good list. So contact me. I'll give you some ideas.
Would you mind us sharing that, Desiree, if I can ask for it? Is it easy to share for everybody?
Well, I'll have to put it together because it's not like a list that I found. It's just as I've been taking a lot of courses on SEL and then getting the picture books and stuff that can go with them. So, I can put something together, yeah.
Okay, because I basically go off. I start typing the specifics in and stuff for what I find out in our shared catalog. Doing that too, and I use that power search too sometimes. I've been doing that, just kind of see what books have been purchased, because I don't want to miss anything when I get those books. Take so long to get from Paulette and Mackin and stuff that I hate to miss something when I put an order in finally. Okay, are we ready to move on? Desiree, I'm really begging and hoping that, we're going to look at that document I think we had last week, right? Do we want to start? Our conversation, I think when we left off was, do we start with 5th grade move down, or do we look at kindergarten move up?
Actually, what we left off with last week was we're starting with kindergarten, and I was asked to do a sample lesson like I was teaching it so that everybody could have an idea of one of the learning objectives in kindergarten. And so I said, yes, I would do that. So that was what I was prepared to do today.
Do we need to close out, and do you need to send a new invite so you have control to share?
No, I should be able to share. I shared last week on Kim's, so I should be good. Let me try.
Looks good.
Okay. So I'm just going to, oh gosh, sorry. I'm going to stop sharing for just a second, and I'm going to reshare. That was my fault. I grabbed the wrong option. And I think that will look better.
You don't want the infinity one?
No, doggone it. I keep grabbing the wrong one. Sorry. I think that's, let's see. See if this is the right one. Well, that's not going to work either. How did I do it last week? Sorry, guys. I did my entire screen last week and I didn't get the infinity thing going, so I don't know why that's happening. Could we, is it possible to just change the layout to spotlight, and then whoever's talking, it would put it on full screen and then everybody could mute? Would that be okay? And did that make sense what I just asked?
Help me out. Where do I go to spotlight?
Sure. So if you go to the 3 dots and it says change layout, and if you change the layout to spotlight, what happens is whoever's talking goes full screen. And then you would be able to see, then if everybody else mutes, you should be able to see what I'm going to show you. Does that make sense?
I'm going to mute, and I got it on spotlight, so I'm good.
Okay. How about everybody else? Because I can't see anyone when it's on spotlight. Could you just maybe even just raise your hand if you see me in the... Okay, awesome, thanks. Sorry, this is not an ideal way. It's not an ideal way to do it, and I won't take very much time. And I guess I would like to hear from you guys if you want me, how far you want me to go in depth with this. But the idea was that I would take one of the learner objectives in kindergarten and just walk you through a lesson. So we all know we have half an hour, and so we have to kind of keep it that in mind with our checkout and the lesson itself. So what I did is Common Sense Media has this amazing thing called a quick lesson, and it works perfectly for primary grades that we only have for that short amount of time. So the particular learner objective that I'm going to share with you is called Media Life Balance. And it's all about making sure that we're not putting our technology as the center focus of our life, but we're finding balance in healthy ways. And there are 2 vocabulary words, device and balance. And so when they come in the morning and they sit down, I get ready to teach them. I would be giving them an overview of what we're going to do in library. So the first thing that we're going to do today is we're going to learn about the word balance and how that can help us make sure we're being healthy users of our technology. And so when we think of balance, what do we think of? And I might ask a couple kids to give us some questions. I have a little gymnast who would be on a balance beam. I know that. You know, I might just allow them to have a little bit of time to give me what they think balance is. And then I would just explain that What we're going to be talking about today is balancing our time between our devices, which means our iPads or our smartphones or our computers or our PlayStations, our Xboxes, and those are all going to fly out, whatever devices are, and being physical and healthy. And I would start by reading the book Unplugged. And I don't know if you don't have this is an excellent book to do this particular lesson with. It's actually geared specifically for balancing your digital and physical life. I don't know if you want me to read it. I can just kind of show it to you real quick. I don't think you need me to pretend I'm teaching you. So I'll give you an idea of what it is. And I know some of you have this already, so you probably use it frequently, as I do. So Unplugged is about this little character, Blip, and I love showing the inside cover because what you see is a giant computer and a giant cord that connects to our character, Blip. And notice that the cord is not straight, it is awfully tangled. And could that mean something? Imbalance. And then the story goes through Blip and how Blip loves being connected to her computer. It talks about all the amazing things that Blip can learn. It talks about math and music and games and learning how to visit different places. It also gives you opportunity to discuss specific activities that you can do that are positive activities online. But then, one day there's a blackout, Blip accidentally gets disconnected, and she falls down the stairs and out the front door. And obviously, as you're doing you're walking through your book, you may ask kids what do they notice about the book. And inevitably, someone's going to say there's no color, it's all black and white. And as Blip falls out the front door, she's landed in a totally different world. And her world is full of color, and now she gets to see lots of different things. So she's outside, and she gets to do new things. She gets to learn games. She gets to learn music. And basically, it's a repeat. It's a repeat of the things that she did online. It's just a different environment. And again, a mirror of the options that are online. These are just physical instead of the digital. It's getting late, so she has to go back home. She has to go back the way she came. She's sad. She goes back to her friends. She gets plugged back in. But she realizes now that she's experienced life in a physical sense, going outside and playing with her friends, it's not quite as much fun to be connected to the computer all the time. And so what she learns is how to balance between her digital life and her physical life by becoming unplugged. And that's the read aloud that I do with them. It's an excellent lesson about making sure that we're not spending all of our time on our devices and that our devices don't control us, and that we have this balance, our vocabulary word, between physical and digital activities. At that point, I would tell them that we're going to watch a short video after they are done checking out. So they would want to check out, go to their seats, read their library book while they're waiting for me to come up, and I would show a short video. And I'm not going to share that video with you, but I just want you to know it's the video that's on the Common Sense Media website, that it's like 1:47. It's pretty short. It's a great little song about finding balance and following your heart, making sure that you're connecting to friends. Sometimes when we get in front of our devices, it may we might be rude to people who want to play with us, who are trying to get our attention, and it's a great short video. After the video's done, I would do exit tickets and ask students to tell me what was one thing they learned from the song about balance. And we might hear things like, we need to make sure that we're doing both physical and digital things to have a balance, that we don't want our digital devices to take over. Sometimes letting go of our technology is hard, right? Sometimes too much of anything can make us angry or make us sad. These are just different things that they could pull out of the video itself. Being kind to others, being respectful means, you know, when someone is there to play with you, you should set your device aside, or you could possibly share your device with that person. Make sure that you're being respectful and giving them the attention that they need. Devices are great, but when it's time to go to sleep, devices need to be shut off and put away. So those kinds of things are the things that are in the video, and the kinds of things that I can assess that they learned. And I definitely would not just do this and stop. I would take the next week and play the video again, possibly at the end of the library before we line up, just to remind the students, and kind of then tie it into maybe something that we would do next. And it could be whatever, related to balance or related to using devices. We might use the devices in the library, and I might have them practice when I say it's time to stop, you know, practice it's time to stop, because they don't need to be on their devices all the time. So that's, they're called, again, Common Sense Media calls them quick activities. It's if you don't have the time to do a full lesson, you can do a quick activity. So yeah, that's a half-hour unit, or lesson, excuse me, not unit. That's a half-hour lesson for kindergarten. That's one of our standards, digital life balance. How's that? Was that okay? I'm going to change my view back to grid so I can actually see people.
And I see Diane has her hand up.
You're muted, Diane, aren't you?
Okay, I was going to try to change my grid too, but I didn't. Can you hear me okay now?
I can, yeah.
Okay. I've been doing that, but I've been using the book Couch Potato is also a great one by Jory John. I haven't started with kindergarten, to be honest with you, because we're just learning how to come in the library and sit. We have it for a couple of my classes here at McKinley. They're not quite ready for this, but it's also a great one. Is I even did it with 5th grade today on balance. I did Couch Potato, and they loved it over here. Kind of the same thing. I just thought I'd share that.
Yeah, thanks. Well, our mission today was starting with kindergarten, so
Okay.
that's why that lesson was presented. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, just another
use it for
resource,
whatever.
another book you could use.
yep, absolutely. Was that you, Don?
Desiree,
Yeah.
I want to thank you. I think you've set the bar high. Personally, I really like this format, where we came in and had a lesson we could take out and go home with and use and do this. And I would really like to look forward to going down the road as we start looking at this. And I'm sure if we look at the scope and sequence, or the words, the information that we have, I bet there's a lot of us here that can, instead of, all Desiree or so-and-so, I'd love to be able to see what others are doing. So if you look at something and you have like a passion for one of those looking ahead, I love this. So thank you.
Yeah. And again, I think Kim said our goal for the PLCs is to kind of get some of these lessons visualized so that we have a sense, and then we're supposed to be working on our I can statements. So if anybody wanted to kind of meet that out a little bit, I think it's great. Like if we do a sample lesson, and then come up with I can statements for that lesson, that's, half the battle, I think.
I can identify outside activities, or I don't know exactly like what we're thinking of. I'm trying to think of the word balance. You have the word balance. You had all that in there too. What is balance? I can identify a balance. So, and anybody got better words than me? If we're throwing those out, we're not going to waste the whole time here doing this, but
Well, and the reason I use those words is because that's what the lesson is. But I think it falls right in with the social emotional learning, healthy choices for our bodies and our brains. And so, a lot of we know that kids can get addicted to their devices. And when we try to remove the devices from their environment, we're going to see anger, we're going to see sadness, we're going to see resentment, we're going to see... And so this doesn't just fall under media literacy, digital citizenship. This falls under social emotional learning as well. So that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Desiree, I thought that was a really great job, and I had not seen that book, so thank you for sharing it.
I love it. It's such a good book. Blip is so cute, and one of the things you could do if you wanted to turn it, again, going down a different avenue, if you want to turn it into a STEAM activity, let's make Blip. Because look at what we've got. What do we study in kindergarten? Shapes. Look at Blip. What's he got? Shapes, right? So we could easily turn that into a STEAM lesson too. So
that's awesome.
Fun. Yeah, and again, all I did, you guys, is I took it off of the Common Sense Media lesson page. So, I mean, I came up with the read aloud by myself because I found this book that I loved. But you could use any of the books. Andy came up with When Charlie McButton Lost Power, Couch Potato. I mean, any of those are great. Anything that talks about our healthy choices in life and mentions devices, I think, is a perfect choice for, kindergarten. I am, and I'm actually presenting. Sorry. I won't be much. Okay. Yeah, I'm happy to share it. It's fun to get to talk that out a little bit. I don't know what you guys have been doing for kindergarten for digital citizenship, and I think it's kind of scary, or it was until I found stuff. It's kind of scary to introduce it to them because you think that it's stuff you're going to have to, like internet safety type stuff, and I don't really think we have to go there with kindergarten. They're not mature enough to handle it, so I like the balance one. Okay, that's all I got. Does that mean we get to leave?
I'm good with that. Because I know there's a lot of things to get going on here, so
yeah.
I think what we did is quality over quantity, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Okay.
So are we together next week?
We are.
Okay, all right.
Yep, and I think if you look at the calendar, if I sent the invite out because I got one email out, and if you go and look at your calendar, shared calendar, Kim had the 3 emails. Mine was posted there. But if I remember, next Wednesday I'll send the invite out again. I think it went to everybody. I intended it to go to one person, and then it ended up going to, I think, a lot of people. So I'll just do that again next week.
Dawn, I'm going to be in Butte next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Okay.
So if you record it, would you send it to me?
I might defer to Desiree for that. She did a good job screencasting it. So.
Okay, thank you.
Let's
Thank
hope.
you. All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.